The Magic faced a major challenge against the New Orleans Pelicans, and their leaders finally stepped up today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 12th, 2026. My name is Philip Rossman. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic's Killer Bees, Desmond Bane, Anthony Black, Paolo Banchero, stepped up in a major way to bail the Magic out and get a win over the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk about what they did and why it could mean momentum. Maybe it won't, but we'll get to that. Plus, Moe Wagner's dramatic return. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies. That means you listen 5 days a week during the weekdays. That means you're listening on the weekends when you do our weekend episodes. That means we're part of your daily podcast rotation. We're your first listen of the day. We want to thank you for being part of this great Locked On Magic community. Thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. It's your team every day. The Orlando Magic had a choice. They're down 107-98 with about 9.5 minutes left of the fourth quarter. They had fallen back into the habits that they've had, where it feels like, and this was even before Franz, where it felt like they were doing this, it felt like they believed they could just out-talent a team like New Orleans. That they just had to show up and win, that they could outscore them. And the effort on defense was not good. After a strong start, after the Magic took a 12-point lead in the first quarter, everything just fell apart. And the Magic were scoring, they were in the game, but clearly not doing enough to win. Clearly not doing the basic things that we expect them to do. I've been on this show for the last few weeks, maybe talking clumsily about it, but let me say it clearly here. The challenge right now is on the Orlando Magic's leaders. The challenge right now is on the Orlando Magic's best players to be a calming force, to be leaders, to lead by example, to bring the team's energy up with them. And at the beginning of the game, energy was great, as it has been for a long time now. The Magic starting group has generally done well in the first quarter. And then the attention to detail, the basics, the energy just fades. Whether it's because they're missing shots or whatever the reason, the energy just dissipates. And the Magic stop doing the things they must do to win. They just stop doing them. Success is going to be determined purely on effort. And that is something we have not had to ask of this team because it's been assumed. It's been a core piece of the Orlando Magic's identity. And the effort just wasn't there defensively. Orlando was doing enough to win offensively. They were scoring plenty. Scored 128 points, 90-something points through 3 quarters. They were scoring plenty, but you got to string together stops because they're not going to be able to hit shots forever. That's just not how this team is built. And what I have been calling on, what I've been begging for, what I've been asking for from this team is for someone to lead. For the best players on this team, the Magic's quote-unquote killer bees, Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, Anthony Black, to lead by example, to set the tone with their energy. And that is simply what hasn't happened in the fourth quarters of these games. That's not what happened through the first 3 quarters of this game. And so at long last, we saw the Magic step up to the plate. At long last, they stopped treading water. They stopped exchanging baskets. They stopped making the silly mistakes and the poor effort plays that cost them in this game and were costing them over the last few weeks. At long last, the Magic found some leadership. Desmond Bane attacking the basket, making tough shots. Paolo Banchero blocking a shot, helping set the tone on defense to get the Magic out on the break where they were able to find Anthony Black for a couple of quick baskets. And then finally, Paolo Banchero being in the right spot, playing off of his teammates, sharing the ball and trusting them that it'll get back to him. And making shots and making plays at the rim, getting to the line that got the Magic a win. The Magic finished this game on a 30-11 run. They're down 7, ended up winning by 10. So maybe I did my math wrong there, but they ended up winning the game on like a 30-11 run. The Magic's 3 best players, Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, and Anthony Black, scored 28 of those 30 points. And the only one they didn't score was Goga Batadze tipping in, I believe it was a Paolo miss. 28 points between those 3 players in the fourth quarter. This team is talented enough. This team is good enough. They have all the tools, even without Franz Wagner, even without Jalen Suggs. They have the tools to be really good. They have the tools to win, to play Magic basketball, to do all the things that they've been asked to do all the things that they must do to win. And at long last, in the fourth quarter, not in crunch time, but they didn't have to, they had to bail themselves out still, but they put their foot down. And playing against a Pelicans team that will invite mistakes, that will give you plenty of opportunities, that will go into a shell because they're young. They're playing their young guys. They're not as confident. The Magic took the game. They took it. And listen to our friends at Locked On Pelicans. I'm sure they're talking about how they squandered this one, how they let the Magic get hot and let go of the rope defensively, like the Magic have done for so long. This team doesn't need to be perfect. Like I don't expect this team to be as good as they will be when they're healthy. I don't expect this team to make all their shots, to look perfect on offense. They're missing some pretty big offensive pieces. And frankly, they're missing some pretty good defensive pieces. I'm not even expecting the defense to be elite. But I think what we've all expected and what all of us, and I would hope people on the team are frustrated with, is this inconsistent attention to detail, this inconsistent effort. And again, you don't have to be as good as you're going to be when you're healthy. But the bare minimum that we always ask is focused intention and effort. A focused, intentional effort. You are trying to do the right things. And far too often, it's sloppy closeouts. It's late rotations. It's being flat-footed, getting beat in transition. Like there's some Paolo Penda lineups that I was just like, okay, I think the Noah Penda moment has passed. He's getting beat on transition, or he's getting beaten backdoor cuts. Paolo's pretty flat-footed as it is. He's just not been good defensively. One of them needs to go to the bench, and it ain't going to be Paolo. But this was the challenge. Down 9, no timeout called. Down 9, you had to figure it out. You had to find momentum. You had to create energy yourself. And slowly but surely, the Magic did. Slowly but surely, the Magic created the energy that they needed. And they got rewarded for that effort with a win. It's not pretty. It's not clean. There's a lot to clean up. There's a lot to be better at. The Magic can't just play a quarter and a half and win most games. New Orleans is a 9-win team. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to give you a wide margin for error. The Magic used all of it. Just like they used all of it against Brooklyn. Just like they didn't take advantage of the mistakes against Washington. This game was very similar to the Washington game on Tuesday, where the Magic were good enough to win if they cared, if they put the effort in. They put the effort in the fourth quarter, and they finally played Magic basketball for, it seems like, the first time in a long time. They didn't have to do it long to win, but they did it. And it bailed them out. A big piece of the energy puzzle, though, is finally back in the lineup how Moe Wagner did in his return game. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to our friends over at FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern are appointment viewing because you get something new every week. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, and it's easy to check those weekly specials before tip-off and get those picks in before it's too late. So before tip-off on Friday, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That is NBA Happy Hour. Only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day, and thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. With the Everydayer Club, you get access to ad-free audio for Locked On Magic, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. Plus, you get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server. That includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. I'm usually hanging out there during games. I will put my thoughts after every quarter in those games that are exclusive to my Discord, exclusive to my subscribers. So check out our Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonmagic.supercast.com. That's lockedonmagic.supercast.com, or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. It feels like we're in a little bit of a race. It does. Slowly but surely, we knew Moe Wagner was coming back. We hit a year since surgery last week, and Mo had been on the court a little bit more. We began hearing some rumblings that he was going to be back. Don't worry, Franz Wagner also on the court a little bit more, rumblings that he could be back. And Franz spoke to the media after the game on Sunday, said he's doing well. He's on the court a little bit more. He's been working really hard the last few weeks. He's hopeful that he'll be able to play Thursday, but whether he can or not, it's going to be a very special day. We'll talk plenty more about the Berlin trip coming up later this week. But Sunday was Moe Wagner's day. Sunday was finally the day Moe Wagner got to step back onto an NBA game court and play and don the Magic jersey. I can tell you his intro on opening night, only one player got a louder ovation than Moe Wagner on opening night, and that was Jalen Suggs. Moe Wagner did not want the pomp and circumstance. He said after the game, I was trying to make this as normal and regular day as possible. I just wanted to play. I didn't want a big to-do about his return. But Moe Wagner got the ovation that he deserved when he checked into the game late in the first quarter. A little bit of a false start. Jamal Mosley put him to the table. Refs wouldn't let him in. Got introduced. Crowd went nuts. Had to get reintroduced. A little bit of a false start. And Moe Wagner played only 10 minutes. So very limited. Again, expected him to be on a minute restriction. That's not the crazy part. What's crazy is that in a lot of ways, it felt like Moe Wagner didn't miss a beat. In many ways, it felt like Moe Wagner was never gone. Jamal Mosley always likes to joke that Moe Wagner wakes up with 10 points. In 9 minutes and 49 seconds in his first game back in more than a year, he had 8 points, 3 for 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line with 2 and 1s, if I'm not mistaken. 2 rebounds, 2 assists. A pretty solid game for Moe Wagner. And we saw all the elements that make him a guy that we really like. Talking and communicating on defense, rolling hard to the basket and with great hands, catching the ball in stride to finish, spreading the floor, setting screens, being a little bit of an irritant. I wouldn't say the irritant was turned all the way up to 10 quite yet. We'll ease into that. But he was defending as hard as he could. And look, he knows he's a flawed defender. It's for a guy that hadn't played in a year, Moe Wagner looked every bit. And he made an important play during the game. In the third in his third quarter stint, in the second half stint, he and Desmond Bane communicated to do a trap. And they got a turnover out of it. And as the ball trickled out of bounds, Moe Wagner did what Moe Wagner does. Got the crowd riled up and tried to create some energy. That's the theme of today's episode, is energy. That's been the theme for the Magic for the last 2 weeks at least, is energy. Bringing consistent energy. And getting Moe Wagner back, getting that scoring potential, is a huge boost for this Magic team. It is hard to measure how much of a boost they will get from Moe Wagner. It is hard to measure because, yes, he's going to give the scoring. Yes, he's going to rebound. Yes, he'll spread the floor when he gets up and running. But he is just all about giving his all for his team. And doing it in a way that feels infectious. There's a reason why fans love him to death. There's a reason why a guy who's only going to get 10 minutes, who averages like no more than 20 minutes a game when he was healthy, is so beloved, is so important to this team's identity. Mo don't want me saying all this. We've been, like Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel and I, we've been trying to chat with him in the locker room for at least a month to just get an update, because we haven't heard from him. Like today after the game was the first time like the media talked to him. No offense to Jeff Turner of FanDuel Sports Network Florida. He was very much of like, hey, I'm doing fine. I don't want to talk right now. Like I'm off to go get treatment. He's always just on the run. This guy is just so much about the team. And frankly, like right now, not that these guys are selfish or are not about the team. Right now, it just feels like the thing that's missing is someone who is so bought in, someone who believes so much in what this group is doing, and just believes in this team. That feels so important right now. And that's the energy that Jalen Suggs brings to the floor. That's the energy that Franz Wagner brings. That is the energy that Moe Wagner brings. Like, he is just someone that believes. And again, if you know how he got through the NBA, the Magic were essentially his last chance. And he's turned that into a home, a place that loves him and values him. Again, the long-term contract hasn't come, frustratingly, for him for sure. But this is an organization that understands how important he is and wants to see him succeed as much as anybody. The Magic lost Moe Wagner's minutes, and we're going to dive we'll talk a little bit more about the numbers from the game on Sunday in a minute, but it almost feels like this isn't about Moe Wagner's production. Like, great, he scored 9 points. Great, 8 points. Great, he did X, Y, and Z. Fantastic. What matters most is that he brings that joy and confidence and swagger to these games again. Like, I've had this thought, and it's an intrusive one, a little bit imp of the perverse here, but there are moments that I'm just like, man, the Magic really miss Cole Anthony. And Cole is a great person. I love Cole to death. I told everyone in Milwaukee, I told everyone in Memphis, there is nobody on the Magic that believes in this team more than Cole Anthony. Even if he can't deliver what they need, he believes so hard. There's not a better teammate. And the Magic are missing guys like that. The Magic are missing guys that are just pure energy, just frankly, irrational belief, not only in themselves, but in their team. And again, like, it's not that the players the Magic have are bad. Tyus Jones is fine. He's having a bad year, but he's fine. He replaced Cole Anthony essentially. That irrational belief in each other and the confidence you get from like a Jalen Suggs who just believes wholeheartedly and is demonstrably and openly believing that way. That's an element that makes this team go. And it's an element they've been missing this year. And so if they can get that with Moe Wagner, that's going to be enough. That's going to help them be better. And we're one game in. I'm very happy that Moe gets to play in Berlin. Again, we'll see if Franz is able to get there. I'm sure there'll be hints and whispers about it. There have been hints and whispers about it. I'll go ahead and hint and whisper about it. It's definitely a possibility from what I understand. But we'll see. Got two the Magic are flying as I'm recording this. They landed about 5, 6 a.m. Eastern time in Berlin. This is what Moe Wagner means. And it was fantastic to see him back. Fantastic to see him make an impact. Fantastic to see that he looked like he didn't miss a beat, even if he couldn't go super long. And I'm excited for game 2 as much as I was excited for game 1. Let's run through the box score then. We'll talk a little bit about what we saw from the Orlando Magic, what went wrong, and what the Magic have to fix coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by friends over at Game Time. During basketball season, there is nothing like being in the building. The energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That is where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. You just find what you're looking for in a few taps. They usually put the events going on around you right at the front. They know if you're a Magic fan, they'll put the basketball right on the top. And you can see a view from your seat before buying your tickets, which makes choosing great seats even easier. Plus, they have zone deals helping you unlock great seats at even better value. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. All right. As we do after every game, we're going to go through the final box score, talk a little bit more about individual performances and what actually happened in the game, because the Magic really got bailed out here. They brought the energy. They won the game. They went out and took the game. And the Magic's offense was really good. You shoot 52.4%, 11 for 24 from 3. Maybe you want to see a few more threes go in, but you're shooting 45.8% from 3. You get 35 free throw attempts. To me, that is a huge thing. It's been a while since the Magic paraded to the line. And as they were struggling to get their offense going, because their offense really didn't pick up till the fourth quarter, after that big first quarter start, they were kind of scuttling a little bit. They weren't clean offensively. But they were able to get to the line, and that kept them afloat. That allowed them to set their defense up and give it a chance. And again, it's just all about effort. If the Magic put in the effort, if the Magic played hard, this game could have been a little bit easier for them, because New Orleans shot 57.5%. They shot 14 for 26 from 3. These are the two worst three-point shooting teams in the league. They both shot better than 40%. The Pelicans shot better than 50% from 3. Jordan Poole, who didn't score in his last 2 games, was 6 for 8 from 3 for 21 points. A little bit of that is bad luck. Some of that is bad defense. And the Magic's defense was not good. Again, the effort it only took a little bit of defensive. It only took 9 minutes of good defense to erase a 9-point lead and go up by 10 to make a 19-point swing. It didn't take much. And that's the margin of error when you play a team like the Pelicans. Again, no offense to the Pelicans. Jeremiah Fears had a great game. Zion Williamson looks healthy. Trey Murphy III continued his nice run. The Pelicans have some nice pieces. Their bench won their minutes, and I would have said the Magic need to dominate those bench minutes. They got worked. When the Magic broke the lineup in the first quarter, that's when things started to go wrong. And again, I hate to bang this drum too much because I think ultimately Paolo had a good game. His assist numbers are crazy good right now. Like he is distributing the ball really well. But again, his defensive attention wanders. And I mentioned this earlier. There's a lineup in that late first quarter when the Magic had Paolo Banchero and Noah Penda out there. And that's great for size. And I think they have a lot of confidence in Noah Penda developing into a great defender at all areas. Like he played 37 and a half minutes. Like the Magic were confident enough in him. But there were some lineups, and it worked again in the final quarter. But there are some lineups in that first quarter where it was like, okay, Paolo's kind of flat-footed right now. Like his defense isn't where it needs to be. And Noah Penda's a rookie. You don't always make the right read. Like you do have to cover for his mistakes a little bit, even if he can recover on a lot of them. And that was just a bad combination. And again, there's just still too much like poor communication, not stepping up, not rotating, not guarding your yard, not putting some resistance on your man. It's just all off. Like I'm a big believer that defense has a rhythm, like shooting has a rhythm. The Magic's defensive rhythm is all off. Now I know they're coming off 2 games where they've defended really well, had under 110, but Magic give up a 125.5 defensive rating. One of my stats that I hate this year, the Magic now have 12 games where they've given up more than 120 points per 100 possessions. We're at game 40. 12 games out of 40. Last year, they had 8 total. So the defense is a problem. The defense is a real problem. But again, maybe it was just New Orleans day. Like I mentioned that against Charlotte. I didn't think the Magic had a great defense ever in that game, but like, look, Charlotte made shots. Like sometimes that happens. And that's been happening too much with the Magic to make you believe like, okay, this is just random variance. It's no, the Magic are good at taking away attempts, but they're still giving up too many open shots that teams are making. And so that remains the problem. Orlando's defense just isn't good enough. And that's supposed to be the team's identity, the thing that we can rely on no matter what. Right? And so that's where they need to improve. Like it's going to be good going to Berlin. They're going to have 2 practices. Hopefully Franz comes back. He's one of the best defenders in the league. I'm a big believer that Franz Wagner is playing all defensive team level defense this year. I don't think he'll get in, partly because of the injury, partly because Jalen Suggs soaks up all the attention, partly because the Magic are 11th in defensive rating. Their defense is taking a major slide this year. I think it will shape up, and I think they'll find it, especially when they get healthy. I think they'll shape up and peak at the end of the season. That's kind of what Jamal Mosley's defenses did in Dallas. And so I think there's a little bit of managing the season a little bit, not going as hard, but they got to find it. It's been really, really rough. And it deserves that kind of mention. Like I said, I don't want to bang too much on the Paolo stuff. Again, my big thing with Paolo is I want to challenge him to be a leader, to set the example on both ends. You're the star. You're the max player. This team takes their cues from you. I'm cool. Like, I get it. You got to have to work with your personality. And he's just very cool, let everything wash over him. And I like that. Like, I feel like I'm that kind of guy a lot of times. I don't get too high, too low. Like, I don't get crazy over anything. And I like that about him. I don't want that to change. But there is responsibility that comes with being a star. And again, first 3 quarters, first quarter, I thought Paolo was great. Second and third quarter just looked like attention wandered, and everyone's attention wandered with that. Fourth quarter, he was dialed in, made a great block, made a bunch of good plays. Had 1 turnover. He had 4 turnovers in the game. He had 2 turnovers in the third quarter when the Magic really let the lead slip away from them a little bit. He did a lot of really good things in that fourth quarter. Big reason why the Magic won. Scored 9 of his 23 points in the fourth quarter, was 7 for 16. 9 for 10 from the foul line. Getting to the foul line 10 times is great. You're so frustrated with that on Friday. Like that's a key piece of Paolo, is just constantly putting pressure on defenses. 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Like he did work. He got the job done. Kudos to him. Bring that fourth quarter energy at all times, and the Magic would win a lot of games. That's my only point on that. That's the point I'm trying to make. And again, everybody follows. Desmond Bane is really the one that started the run. 27 points, 9 for 18 shooting, 8 for 8 from the foul line. Again, getting to the foul line. That's a sign of aggression that kept the Magic in the game. 35 free throw attempts. Feels like it's been forever since the Magic had that many free throw attempts. 5 rebounds. Really, really solid game from Desmond Bane. Again, it's 1 for 4 from three. He's not taking a ton of threes yet. Hopefully, as the Magic get healthier, he'll be able to do that more. But he's able to get downhill and force some action. Again, when Desmond Bane is finishing at the rim, the Magic are really hard to beat. They're just really hard to beat. Anthony Black had another nice game. 26 points, 9 for 10 shooting, 3 for 4 from three, 5 for 7 from the foul line, 7 assists. He had 4 turnovers through the first 3 quarters too. He had 2 really bad turnovers in the third quarter, but everything cleaned up, and he made some hugely critical shots to help the Magic win this game. So your killer bees, your 3 stars, all show up. And when that happens, you're more than likely going to win the game. Goga Bitadze stepped up too. Goga Bitadze always does well when he's in the starting lineup. It is certainly a motivation for him. I thought he played really well. 14 points, 2 blocks, 7 for 10 shooting, a couple of putbacks on there as well. 5 offensive rebounds, 13 rebounds total. Very typical Goga Bitadze game when he's given a ton of minutes. And starting motivates him. I don't think he's as good off the bench, to be perfectly honest, but I think he is better off the bench for this team. I think Wendell Carter's still great for this team. And, talk about defense. Wendell Carter is such a great defender, is just such a good positional defender, just opens up a lot of things. But Goga Bitadze played great defense in this game. And again, big reason why the Magic were able to kind of hang around a little bit. Tristan da Silva came off the bench, scored 16 points, 4 for 7 shooting, 4 for 5 for 3. Good to see him get back up and running. He's had a rough go of things. The shoulder injury still bothering him, was dealing with back spasms that caused him to miss Friday's game. So good to see him up and running as well. And of course, Moe Wagner, 8 points off the bench. Orlando got 3 from Jace Richardson, 2 from Tyus Jones as well. The Magic shoot 52.4% from floor, 45.8% for three, 31 for 35 from the foul line. The big number for them, 13 turnovers. 13 turnovers, not a huge amount. They got it under control, but 25 points off those turnovers. Like so many times with this Magic team right now, they'll be in an offensive rhythm. They'll have a bad turnover, and it's just a wall that they hit, and they start turning the ball over a little bit more. Their turnovers that lead directly to points. The Magic really struggle with that, but they did get it back. They forced 16 turnovers for 27 points. So 16 New Orleans turnovers for 27 points. In the fourth quarter alone, New Orleans had 4 turnovers for 8 points. Orlando just 1. So the formula for the Magic is really, really simple. Again, it's not rocket science. I'm not asking, there are things that I think the Magic need to do to get easier shots and to set their stars up a little bit better than they do. And, we're not going to do this every game about saying Jamal Mosley's future is in danger. We're not doing this every game. Everything for this Magic team starts with this. Effort. Put in the effort. You'll be fine. You'll give yourself a chance just by putting in the effort, just by being the hardest working team on the floor. That's been the motto for 4 years. Reduce turnovers, protect the ball. Don't give possessions away. Give yourself a chance at a shot. When the Magic do that, they're really hard to beat. Even if they're not efficient offensively, just being able to set your defense up, just being able to get a crack at the basket. They're a good offensive rebounding team. Orlando finishes this game with 11 offensive rebounds, 14 second chance points. Could have done a little bit better there. They end up with 58 points in the paint. The Magic are going to put pressure on the rim. They're going to get to the foul line. So play hard, play with intensity, play with effort, and good things are going to happen because this team is really talented. I noted this to a few people. This started before Franz got hurt. So you're thinking the San Antonio game and stuff. There is a feeling that the Magic feel like they can just turn the switch on. That they know oh, we're so good, we can just coast through some things and skip some steps. And that's just not the case. Now, you can get away with against New Orleans. You're going to be in danger for a little bit. Because again, as I mentioned, a long time ago, when the Magic are good, I get a little curmudgeonly during wins. It's about how you win. And the Magic did not win the way they need to win. They did not play Magic basketball until they absolutely had to. And they turned it on one. So it's not good. It's good that they could do that. They can have these stretches where they're really brilliant. Do it against a good team. Memphis is under 500, but a couple games under 500. Memphis, the next 2 games, going to be good teams. Going to be good teams. The Magic just have to be better. They have to hold to their principles and hold to their process and hold to their standards. And they meet it some of the time. They're not meeting it enough. they did enough. They did enough to win on Sunday. And so we'll take the win because the East is a mess and the Magic are still very much in the race. We're not updating the standings every day either. I'm not doing that, not until the All-Star break. The Orlando Magic defeat the New Orleans Pelicans 128-118. They're back in action Thursday from Berlin against the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll have coverage of that game and the week from Orlando. We're not going to Europe, but we'll have that from Orlando. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Philip Steel podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on or you can check us out as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. There you'll get a daily newsletter Monday through Friday with an exclusive article, adding more depth to the game. I try to do video reviews on there as well. So please help me. So if you'd like, please support my Patreon page. It does help fund my travel for the playoffs, my travel for future games as well. Not to Europe, that'd be probably a little pricier, but I truly appreciate all the support from the Patreon. I truly appreciate all the support for those of you who decided to join the Everydayer Club as well. Maybe the ad-free podcast is a little more valuable to you. Absolutely go take advantage of that. I have a Discord on my Patreon as well. Things that go in one go in the other. So you don't need to subscribe to both. You can if you want. I appreciate that as well. But I am making sure my subscribers get the full experience and full access to me as well. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We're going to be back tomorrow. I think tomorrow we need to just take a step back and look at where the Magic are and why this stretch of the season, this next part of the season, is going to be really vital. We'll also maybe take a look at the NBA Cup teams and why they're all struggling, because they're all struggling. We'll get to that, calm some nerves, take a break. We're all good. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.